Hello composers, Mike here. How can you take control over all the articulations of the sample libraries you use when you compose music? Well, I have a solution for you that I have used personally for over a year in Logic Pro, which is also available if you use Cubase. So let's check it out right now. Now let me start by showing you the end result. Here I have a full ensemble strings patch where I have included different articulations for different parts here to create an overall performance like this. Then I took that performance and copied it to this track, which is a brass library, did a few minor tweaks to get a complete layered sound with different articulations on both strings and brass using only these two tracks, making something like this. Now let's check out how this magic works. 1. Apply articulation sets. So once you have installed the articulation sets from Art Conductor, it is super easy to apply them to a track and sample library you use. So let's say you use Forzo here, go into the traditional and choose, let's say, the trumpets here. Then you simply open up, after it is loaded, the track inspector, and here you can see articulation set. If you left click this, I have actually all the Babylon Waves Art Conductor here, and I can find Forzo. But you can see I've also made these folders myself because it makes it much easier. I will show you how I did that later. So Forzo and then trumpets here. Now, as soon as you have loaded that, we get into tip 2. Choose articulation in quick controls. So if I close this now, and while this track is selected, click B to open up the quick control. So you will probably get here first. And you can see key switches here. So now let's open this up again. We have long sustains, right? Let's minimize it like so. You can see I get the articulations right here. And you can also go to the next page here. So we crescendo, swell, long, staccato, portato, sforzando, long, PPP, which are all these 7 articulations right here. So it's loaded as long right now, so I can play something. Staccato, portato, sforzando, and so on. 3. Set the articulation per note in the piano roll editor. So the quick control key switches here, I usually use those to select which articulation I am initially going to record a new part with. After you have recorded a part, so let's check this here, the next one here, this is actually, if I select this so you can see it, cinematic strings full ensemble. As you can see here, I have loaded thematic strings full ensemble right here, so I can change the key switches here. But the coolest thing about this is when you go into the piano roll editor, let's zoom in, you can actually select any note in the entire performance right here, and then you have the articulation set here, so you can switch per note any articulation in the sequence. So if I select the lowest notes here, these bass notes, I have actually chosen marcato for this middle note, staccato, and for these notes, run mode. So I have used 3 different articulations here, run mode, staccato, and marcato in the entire performance. So I can use all those articulations in a mixed performance to create something like this. Now, a little bonus tip here. In Logic, you can actually, after you have set the articulations per note, select all notes of the same articulation. So all of these lower notes here are marcatos, but instead of doing like this, trying to select them all, then you can simply select one of them and choose Shift D, which selects all the notes of the same articulation. So now you can, for example, increase the velocity of those if you want. 4. Use mixed articulations in the same region, which I just showed you, marcato, staccato, and run mode here, but I will also use this on this long chords track here. So I have actually used, let's see, long consordino, long soft, consordino, long, and tremolo at the top to make an overall sound like this. So as you can see, you have so much creative power using articulation sets instead of using a key switch and adding it here, because you can not only see all notes in the piano roll that you actually use, so all notes in here are actual notes instead of a key switch, you can also shift them on a note per note basis. So this way you can actually add lots of subtle variation as well. So these long notes here, I actually used longs and long consordino vibrato just to add some variation, and for these higher notes I used harmonics to create this. All on the same track instead of loading the individual articulations on separate tracks, which very soon creates a messy project with way too many tracks. And on this rhythm track here, I've used marcatos here, run mode here to create this. Let's see, on this final, I also used mixed articulations to actually have long notes here and short notes above. And you can easily go in and change. Let's see what else we have. So let's use tremolos for the lower notes instead and see how that sounds. Or for example, change these on the first bar only to marcatos to give them some accent power, increase the velocity a bit like this. And then once you have done so, you can select that, Shift D again to select all of them. I want to increase the dynamics a bit more, in fact, to really make these accents. 5. Copy parts, including articulation switching. So this is really cool. Not only do you have complete control in setting the articulations per note, but since Art Conductor uses somewhat of a standard way to have all the main articulations, so the longs are always on this one, staccato on this one, and so on. It works very well to simply take a part like this one, this string library here, and I have used marcatos, staccatos, and in this case run mode. Of course, the run mode is not present in the brass library, but I will show you anyway. So you have the brass from palette here. I just take this, drag it down, copy it like that. So we go from this. Now, of course, this uses another articulation set, but since you can copy parts, including the articulation switching, and they are somewhat of a standard, you get marcatos here, staccatos here, and let's see, the run mode was translated into trills, so you might want to do some changes just to make sure it works. So select this note, Shift D to select all of them. Let's use staccatissimo instead on the top voice there, and you get... I find this is one of the most amazing thing about this product, that it is created in such a way that often it works to just duplicate parts like this and you get pretty close to the original track performance, so you can layer like this. So obviously it will not work for more unusual articulations, such as this run mode, which is pretty unique. But in most cases, it works for longs, marcatos, staccatos, and staccattissimos. Pizzicatos if you copy to another string library that has pizzicato, trills, and so on. So those are some of my best tips. Now I want to include a final bonus tip, which is to actually create your own favorite folder. So when you get this product, you get this folder after you install it. Let me show you where it is. It's in your main hard disk. And then you go to users, your account, applications, music, audio music app. So it's pretty nested deep here. As you can see, you have the articulation settings, and this is the folder you get with Art Conductor. What I did is that I actually created new folders here, my favorites folder, strings, brass, winds, and others. And then I just copied the libraries I have that I own, so that I don't need to dive in all these folders. I can just go to my favorites and have my favorites here, or strings and have my string libraries here, and brass and so on. So that is my final bonus tip. Right, so that is Art Conductor by Babylon Waves. I find this tool to be indispensable for my own composing workflow, and I will leave a link for you in the video description so you can check it out and see if this is something you want to add to your composer toolkit. Do you want to get new and powerful sounds to use in your music? Do you want to level up your skills in music composition, production, and sound design? Then take action and check out the links and special deals in the video description.